He was killed tragically, right? A drive-by shooting?
Yes.
Never solved?
Unsolved.
Do you think it was a purposeful drive-by shooting or an accidental drive-by? No idea?
We absolutely believe it was purposeful.
The deaths of Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. on consecutive days remain two of music's most infamous crimes. Neither lawsuit has been officially resolved, and both are currently at a standstill. In a recent interview with HuffPost Live, Faith Evans, Biggie's wife at the time, expressed hope for a change, claiming that she wanted the inquiry reopened. Many believe Faith Evans may be accusing LAPD of being responsible for Biggie's tragic death. Keep an eye out for updates. While the world appears to have moved on from Biggie's death, his ex-wife, Faith Evans, may not be ready. The singer has stated that she is still unable to comprehend her lost lover's tragic death, and the circumstances surrounding the rapper's death have been nothing short of perplexing. The hip-hop world just observed the 25th anniversary of Biggie Smalls' unexplained murder in 1997 at the age of 24. And to honor the renowned late rapper, people chatted with Evans about her best experiences with him, as well as the impact he left behind. The singer, 48, recalls the day she got the news and the impact it had on her as terrible. Although we were separated, we had a 5-month-old baby, she says. And it was obviously so unexpected. We didn't know or expect that to happen. We definitely felt like, okay, come back home. Just because of all the little weird things that were being whispered and things that happened prior to his death. She continued, once I was able to not think gray all the time, I was definitely thankful that I was in LA that weekend. But to even be able to come into the hospital. Of course, I would have loved to have seen him and just wanted to hold his hand. I literally was hoping and thinking, if I go in there and talk to him, he's going to be okay. Evans has since remarried and has 2 kids, Josh and Ryder, as well as CJ and Chena, her firstborn, whom she shares with Kiema Griffin. Despite this, the I'll Be Missing You singer says, I remember Biggie every day. I walk down my steps, and there's a portrait of him that someone handed me up in the lobby. Biggie Smalls is a significant part of this house, she says of the hypnotized singer-rapper who was elected into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame posthumously in 2020. He's one of the reasons that I can be here, to be honest, and leave here and my son, Evans said. Furthermore, even though CJ was only 5 months old when Biggie died, Evans recalls her kid growing up and seeing a lot of his father in him. It's crazy, she says. Early on, I noticed different mannerisms that CJ had in little quirky things, like the way that B.I.G. had allergies and CJ does as well. But there was a certain way he rubs his nose, and CJ's been doing that. That's, I wouldn't say spooky, but to me, it's a more spiritual thing. That is totally his dad's spirit right there. Evans comes together with the Junior Mafia, a New York-based hip-hop group formed and mentored by Biggie to honor him. And they'll all reminisce stories with the Big Papa rapper at times. All we do throughout the night is tell B.I.G. jokes. We tell stories and say, remember this time. It may be the same 30 jokes over and over and over or situations, but it just never gets old. It's actually a joy just to know that that's how we felt about him. Everybody, she says of the group, which disbanded shortly after Biggie's death. There are not many people, I don't know of any, that really don't have a great feeling about him or a funny story about him. She also recounted a comical story she had with the late rapper about going to a bodega in Brooklyn to pick up marijuana just before the establishment was raided. B.I.G. was really lazy, Evans says. He wouldn't get out of the car to go into the store to get the weed. So I go in, and it just so happens they were getting raided. I was taking a long time, and it's not like he got out of the car to come and check and see what happened, she recalls. It was about an hour, and I came back all frazzled, and I'm like, well, you didn't come to check on me. He's like, no, I'm not getting out of the car. What are you talking about? He was like, well, where the weed at? Not, are you okay? But where's the weed? She says as she bursts out laughing. Undoubtedly, Biggie's memory will not be forgotten. In terms of that inner circle, Evans claims they've become maybe even closer since his death. And for those who didn't know him, Evans wants Biggie to be recognized for who he truly was. The person behind these rhymes, which could be so gritty and sometimes harsh and sometimes explicit, he was occasionally all of those things. But for the most part, he was just a really cool, lovable, funny person that most people loved being around. Evans believes he certainly would have done more albums and had a couple more artists if he could go back in time. She also stated that she would have collaborated with him on her 2017 album, The King and I totally feel like he would be the mogul that he wanted to become right now, she says. He would have had a restaurant chain or something. Evans further ensures that, at the end of the day, whenever, even after B.I.G. and I divorced, even when he had a girlfriend or I discovered this one or that one, he always relied on me for something or another, believe me. To be honest, even up until his death, he knew that he could rely on me. What's troubling is that the LAPD may have been dishonest and unscrupulous in their investigation into Biggie's death. The only way you can look at it is tragic. Tragic and senseless, Evans said. However, she doesn't believe in one of the long-standing conspiracy theories about the case, the fact that the East Coast versus West Coast beef was to blame for Biggie's death. It's a little deeper than that. I think all the things that came with it definitely added to the hype of things. The whole media element and people being able to say what they think and not be accurate. Instead, she feels the LAPD is aware of the genuine perpetrator. We know he was murdered, but we believe the LAPD knows who did it, she explained. That's what we think.
You know, his mom and I have been, it's been years since we actually were in a courtroom, but, there was a time when we spent a lot of time, a lot of dollars, just kind of trying to fight, or not even, fight for justice pretty much, and hoping that the authorities would bring someone to, to responsibility. And after a while, you realize that that's probably not going to happen, although we do believe they know what happened. We believe.
Let's see if the fans concur. As one fan put it, not so sure LAPD can be trusted at all. Wasn't Tupac shot and killed in Vegas, so LAPD was investigating it. Why? Another added, LAPD killed Biggie and covered it up. Ain't putting nothing past them. Fans, it turns out, haven't forgotten about Biggie just yet, and everyone wants answers. Furthermore, a detective involved in the case recently made headlines when he revealed certain details about Biggie's death. A veteran Los Angeles Police Department investigator who worked on the Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur murder cases believes he knows who killed the two rap icons. There appear to have been innumerable films made about the two killings, but the reality remains that both crimes were never technically investigated and no one was charged, leaving some to wonder what happened. Ex-cop Greg Harding was assigned to the Robbery Homicide Division and thinks he can put the rumors to rest. Biggie was slain by an associate of Suge Knight. Greg claims of the assassination of Biggie Smalls. He hired a guy named Poochie to track down Biggie at the Peterson Auto Museum in March of 1997 and wait for him outside, and he pulled alongside and shot either side of the car, killing Biggie. Poochie was a Blood Gang member from Compton, well known to Suge Knight, well known to those in Suge Knight's circle. While there are various theories about who the genuine perpetrator is,
Biggie was killed by an associate of Suge Knight. He hired a guy named Poochie to track down Biggie at the Peterson Auto Museum in March of 1997 and wait for him outside, and he pulled alongside and shot into the side of the car and killing Biggie.
Faith Evans is expecting answers from a reputable source, and fans are also waiting. See you again soon for more amusement.